All right, hello, welcome. This is the second open forum for doulas. We are going to be speaking about business in this forum and what it means to be a doula in business. So thank you guys for being here. If you're catching the replay, hey, I'm so happy that you're watching this. We are going to get right into it. So my name is Melissa Fernandez. I am a postpartum doula. I am an intuitive business coach, and I'm also an energetic expansion principle practitioner. So how do we start this? I started this open forum because I think it's really important that we get together, that we meet, that we discuss what things are working really, really well and what things are more of a challenge, and how can we support each other as we are building our doula businesses. Because the reality is, if our businesses aren't flowing and moving in a successful, thriving direction, we're not able to do our important doula work. And some of the trainings that we take don't allow for the continuation of supporting the business aspect of being a doula. And so that's kind of where this all came about. And also, I just like hanging out with you guys. I think it's fun. It's good for us to get together. I'm just reading the chat. Perfect. Yep, I'll be sending this out. Jen, just make sure I have your email. If you registered and you already gave that to me, then no problem. It'll be sent right to you. But if you guys didn't register and you want the replay, go ahead and pop that into the chat, and I'll make sure to get that sent to you. Okay, perfect, Jen. Okay, so what else? Let's see. I have some notes here because postpartum, right? So yeah, the intentions of this call are essentially that we're going to be chatting back and forth. It is very collaborative, and I am going to be guiding it and leading it, but mostly it's going to be us chatting back and forth about what works and what doesn't, type of thing. So I'm going to start with, let's see. Well, I'm going to start with what we discussed on our last call. We were chatting about systems and things that we do in our businesses that bring us clients. What are some of the things that work really, really well? And what are some of the challenges around that? That was the topic that we discussed last month. And if we want, we can continue that conversation today, because it's probably the number one most, challenging piece of becoming a doula business owner. So we can talk about that too. Something else I wanted to ask you guys was, what do you need right now? What are your biggest challenges in this current time right now, in your current situation? Like, what are you moving through right now that you need support with, and that could be the most useful thing to move you forward in your business journey? And feel free to share what your stuff is vocally. Feel free to just pop it in the chat. This is meant to be extremely collaborative. So like hopping on and sharing what's going on is perfect.
Hi, I would like to add to the discussion. My video is not on because I'm still in my pajamas. Anyway, so I just finished my, I had to get my Red Cross certification, right? And I'm considered right now pre-certified. So I have to take my exam to actually be certified. So I feel like I don't want to put myself out there until I'm officially certified. So I don't know if that's right or wrong, because I've been told you can start taking clients even though you don't have your actual certification yet. But anyway, I should be taking my exam within a week or two. So, the question is, I can share, I did create a Facebook business page. I've invited all my friends to it, but, I need to get outside my circle, because I am of the age where none of my friends are having kids at this point. We are all with our kids in college. So, and there's always like the moms pages, right? There's like the local moms pages, but they all have these rules. Like you can only post your business on Saturday at 3 or whatever. And so, how do you get your existence, that you exist, to like a wide audience?
Nicole says she relates. Yeah, I think Nicole too, you had posted about receiving those first 2 clients, right? Or the first couple clients. So
Yeah, I did.
yeah, I remember. So does anyone want to chime in? Like in terms of I have thoughts, of course, but I want this to be super collaborative. So does anyone have thoughts about the certification? Like, do you think that that's a requirement before you can start?
I started taking clients prior to being certified. I had been through training, but part of my training was to have then 3 clients to become certified. So you have to take, for the certification that I took, you have to have 3 clients do an evaluation of you. So you had to take them before you were certified. If you have all the knowledge, it's just, if you're working toward the certification, that's kind of the icing on the cake, I think.
Yeah. Anyone else want to chime in on the certification? I think it's definitely it's tricky because part of it is personal, but part of it is also the industry, and you can feel the opinions about other people versus what's aligned and correct for you, and finding a middle ground between that I think is important. It's not a regulated industry, that's the truth. So some people, like Clary said, like they take the training, and if you feel confident that you can go start working right away, you don't have to do that certification process. But sometimes, depending on where you got training, yeah, it's part of the certification process. So it really becomes about what's correct for you. And I do want to speak about your hesitation in terms of not wanting to start, because I think that's really important, because it's not really about the rules about being certified. It's more about your confidence level and what you can provide for others right now without the certification, so digging deep into that part of it is important.
Well, I think also, like, this is the first career that I'm embarking upon where there's no official like on the job training. I'm not shadowing anyone. There's not like an introductory week. There's like none of that. I did decide though to connect with a local doula agency. And so I do have a client lined up through the agency at the end of the month. So I guess that'll like kind of break the I don't know, that'll kind of like give me a breakthrough that like at least I'll have like my first client under my belt, whether it's my business or through the agency. But so beyond that though, like how do you let the local world know that you exist?
That's a great question. Anybody want to speak up on some things that they've done to become visible to your clients, your potential clients, and your audience, your local area?
I'm kind of in the same situation right now, so I don't have a ton to say as far as advice, but I think something I'm working on is at the end of the month, I'm setting up just a really informal mom-to-mom discussion group, and I'm inviting other doulas and midwives that I know in the area so that it's a place for me to market with other doulas that I could potentially work with in the future. And also, since I'm new, if there are moms that show up with questions or conversations that I don't have a lot of experience in, they have other professionals there to answer their questions also. So I don't know how local people will be, but I think we're gonna have a decent turnout. I'm just having it in a free room at a church, and I'm inviting moms and professionals to just market and talk to each other and discuss birth traumas and just a safe conversation space.
Kristen, I love that. And it's so fluid and natural for you that you had set that up. And guess what? What we're doing right here today is the same thing. Like it's just virtual, and it's with birth workers and doulas. So using this type of connection as a model for something you can do in your community, and either doing it in person or virtual, is a great start. Sometimes it's tricky because you don't want to do everything for free, but in order to become visible, there has to be some things that are free so that people can see you. And it's going to vary on your energetic levels, like what you are available for. And using that as the platform, as your driver to become more visible and to network and to market. And like with Kristen, she set this up in person really easily. She has somewhere to go. And it was so fluid for her to just line it up. So what are the pieces within you that are really easy for you to begin to reach out to your new network?
I think that I was just struggling a lot, and I'm not good at social media. I don't enjoy it. I've not been on it for 3 years, and I just got back on it for business reasons. And it just feels like when you're starting out with no Facebook friends. So kind of the same situation as Jen, because it's not really the age of my friends, it's just that I have none on Facebook. So I was trying to find a way to get in front of people, and even Facebook wasn't a good place for that, because I don't want to spend a ton of time on Facebook, and that's not really how I want to market my business. So I thought that if I could bring moms and other birth workers together, yeah, there might be some potential clients that come out of that, or there might not be anyone of even a birthing age that shows up, but it's a place to get a discussion started and show people that we're even there. So I figure in supermarkets and things, I'll put a flyer, and even if they don't show up, they'll see that there are doulas in the area. So I don't know that anything will come of it, or if I'll get clients, or if anyone else will get clients, but I live pretty rurally, so no one really talks about the things that we're doing or the things that we're learning.
So I want to highlight two things you said there. The first one is that you are just starting. You're just going for it. And you're not sure if it's going to bring about anything, but you're still going ahead with it. And I think sometimes that's where doulas get stuck, is in that overwhelm space. And you're like, well, how do I get clients? And then you freeze. But it's really important to acknowledge, okay, yeah, I'm a little bit frozen. This is challenging, but then move and just try something, because that piece, the action, is going to bring the clarity. And you're going to be like, okay, well, that didn't work. Let me try something else. Or, oh my gosh, that worked. Let's continue. So the action piece is extremely important. And then the other thing that I think is extremely important that you mentioned is that you are doing something that you like. You don't want to be on Facebook. Guess what? You don't have to. And there are so many other platforms out there that if it vibes more with your way that you want to work, you get to do that. I had a similar thing. I didn't want to be on Facebook for my container that I wanted. So I'm on Mighty Networks. I also didn't want to do a podcast on Spotify. And I'm on Buy Me a Coffee, which is the coolest platform ever. Like, there's so many different platforms that you can be on. And the thing that's important, I actually just talked to somebody this morning about this. Being in the spaces and doing the things that light you up is probably one of the most important things you can do for your business, because you're going to be having fun and you're going to be exuding that energy out to everyone else, and they're going to follow you naturally because you're in your element. And so I think that's really, really important what you're doing there, Kristen. And yeah, it's great. Is there anyone else who wants to kind of add to that?
Yeah, I have a couple comments because I feel like I identify with both Jen and Kristen. Jen, I'm also, this is a late in career life move for me. So I just retired out of my corporate job for a lot of years, and started I've been a doula for a year now. And so yeah, I'm not also in a childbearing age, obviously. And so none of my friends are in a childbearing age. My kids are grown and have kids. So I identify with the fact that you're not, a younger person that's around a lot of young people, but I think there's ways to find business, even if you're not. And I will tell you that I started with a client yesterday, and a birth doula recommended me to her, a birth doula that I met at a birth mingle, a doula mingle. So that might be something that you guys consider for your area. I've done a couple in my area where I've just reached out to local birth and postpartum doulas and said, hey, let's come over to my house. We'll hang out in the backyard. We'll have, I'll put some appetizers out and we'll just sit around and get to know each other. And it's a great way to form some relationships with other birth workers in your area or doulas in your area. And this one gal that I met there referred me to this client. And her description of me, and Jen, this is a little bit more for you, is she's the mother-in-law you always wished you had. And so for me, I was like, when this client told me that yesterday, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so great, because some people are looking for, I would say, a more mature doula, that is not young, younger. And so I think there's a place for everybody in this space of being a doula, from being very, very young and a young mother to being somebody that has grown kids and grandkids. And I think everywhere in between. So I like the birth mingles or the doula mingles. It's just a great way to like hang out with some of your counterparts and get to know people. It's a great referral system so that if I'm busy and I don't have space on my calendar, I can refer to somebody else that I've met. A couple of the ladies that I met there, we just went and had coffee afterwards because I thought, okay, this is a person that could be a good referral for me. And I feel like they're the same, maybe they have the same outlook on being a doula that I do, or they maybe our thoughts and the way we want to practice aligns. So I think that's a good option. And then Kristen, I am also, I'm old school. I am not a Facebook user. I've never been active on Facebook. So it's been a new, I don't have an Instagram account. I'm getting ready to start an Instagram account, but it's like, I don't understand that. And it's not what I'm really comfortable on. So I'm also looking for other ways to reach out to people besides social media. I think social media is important, but like some of these mingles and getting to know birth workers and OBGYNs and acupuncturists and yoga teachers and things in the area, those are all places that I'm finding places that do parenting classes. My client just gave me a great lead on an organization here in town that does parenting classes, like your first time mommy, your second time mommy, etc. And she said they refer out to birth doulas all the time, but they don't have any postpartums that they refer out to. So she said you should go and meet that parenting group, that business, and give them your card so that they have some people to refer out to. So those are just some of the things that I've done that have been really helpful in starting to get my name out there and starting to like network with people. So hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, that is massively helpful. And I think the birth worker event that you created, that is a very, very great way to meet your local community with birth workers and finding a referral. That is one of the quickest ways to be completely booked out. Because there's so many births happening all the time. And like you said, we are each are so unique that there are people available for us. It's just the visibility piece that comes into play. And if people don't know that you're available, you're not going to be receiving clients. So getting into that visibility, networking with providers and other birth workers, and finding a birth worker that is aligned with you is important, because they're going to be attracting the type of clients that you want to be working with. You don't want to, we had this conversation on the last call where, if you hook up with a doula, but it's a totally different clientele, the clients that you're going to be receiving from them might not match up with you. And that's hard. That's really hard to work with a client that you don't match up with. And so that part is important. And you'll know when you meet someone who you vibe with, that you're like, yeah, we work, like you said, when you went to coffee. So those were all some really great things that you shared. Thank you so much for that. Anybody else want to chime in on just that entire discussion? Anything else to add or follow-up questions about it? I think this is a really good example of also what Clarice was saying, that when you do have events like that, or for example, this event right here, we have that back and forth between each other, and you learn about things like the parenting class, and another way to network with them. And this is what we're doing here too. We're finding ideas and solutions that we could not, often we can't come up with these things on our own, because we each have our own perspectives. But when we are being collaborative and bouncing ideas off of each other, we reach those solutions so much faster. And this is where that, finding the clients and the clients coming to us is much easier.
I think just a comment back on the ladies that said that a little bit of their challenges being outside of the age group where their friends might need their services. Also, something to consider is when we're in this age group, I know that when my first daughter was born, we were in mom group, and that's where most of my friends came from. Well, all of us were so similar that I'd say 3/4 of us are birth workers now. So that's kind of its own challenge. So I think just remembering that our situations are unique, but all challenging, is that it helps us feel more human, that we're not the only one struggling. So there's definitely a big challenge at every way you enter this. So I think that helps me to remember, like, being on here, I've been struggling a lot because I'm brand new at this, thinking that it's just my area or it's just me and I'm not going to find clients. So it's nice to hear that other people are going through the same things.
Yeah, it's tough because it's not a regulated industry, and there is no like guidance as you're building your business and doing these pieces. It's like, where do I go? And you can have that sense of like loneliness and, oh, this isn't ever going to work out. But when we're able to come together like this, it is so important. There's nothing stronger than having connection with other humans and discussing life. Like that's what we are as human beings. We need community to thrive. You see that in postpartum. The women who do not have their support team, however that looks, have higher rates of postpartum mental challenges happening. It's a fact. And so it's the same with business. We need that community and guidance for sure. Okay. Do we feel really good about the client's booking system? This is essentially what I'm going to be creating, by the way. Like, I'm taking these notes, I'm hearing what you guys are saying, and I'm going to be creating a client booking system that's going to support doulas in business. and because it's necessary, it's important. And yeah. All right, Jen, it was so good to have you here. I'll send you the replay so you'll have the additional time. Anybody else want to hop in about clients booking, or shall we go into what are some things you need right now, and or other things outside of clients, and what would be most helpful with your current situation? And this can be like super specific too, to like what you guys are going on, like with your business, if there's anything else that's challenging.
I guess I'll talk again. I'm sorry.
Love it.
I'm still trying to pick really later on in life when my children are grown, I want to be a midwife. But because of my history, it's really important to be a traditional midwife, which is legal in my state, but I know there's a lot of gray areas. But in this in between time when I'm choosing to be a doula for now, I'm wondering, I'm a big supporter of free birth, and I've free birthed myself, and I know that's kind of unique, especially given the medical history that I've had, but in my area, there was no one to support me with a home birth. So it's important for me to be that support for other women who maybe have a red flag in their medical history where they're still comfortable having a home birth, but our medical system tells them no. So because of that, I'm really struggling with where to get certified, or if to get certified as a doula. And I'm wondering how frowned upon is not being certified, and I guess, is it even possible to go that route, since I've been advocating for natural birth and in this space for several years now, so I feel very educated around the topic, but that's not a credential on a piece of paper that I can show a potential client. So I'm feeling inadequate in not training, but hesitant about certification, I guess. So I don't know if anyone has any input on that mess that I just said.
Were you here at the very beginning of the call?
Yeah, I think so. I know that we talked about like not being certified yet, but I'm just in a place where I'm struggling with to not certify at all because of what I plan for my future, like just wanting to be so active in that extremely holistic, more, I don't like radical, because my pre-birth didn't feel radical at all. It was very peaceful and natural to me, but just
do you
that
have a smell called Crunch Master? Crunch Master.
That can be.
but just that more, I don't know, I don't even know the term, but the more radical side of birth, I guess, for lack of a better term. And I'm struggling with, will my experiences and my personality even fit in a hospital setting, or should I be really just trying to support women who are going a different route? I'm not sure. I see how my experiences could help women in a hospital, but I'm wondering if that's the best place for me or not, I guess. So how did you decide that? If you have any experiences similar to mine.
Would anyone like to contribute any thoughts around that, if they've had an experience in that way? I think so. When I move through stuff like this, because I zoom out in my business often, and it sometimes trips me up in the present. And I think it's natural for us to think about like our legacy and what's our big vision and what's our big dream and goal. And then what can we do today that's going to take us closer to that legacy and fulfilling that space that we really truly desire. And are we going to not have the correct steps every time? Probably. But it's like what we talked about before, you know, Kristen, you've done such a great job already at taking action with that group you're going to be doing, and it may or may not work, but you're doing something. And I think this is the same concept that's important for you to take, and just start with the certification or not. I think in your specific scenario, it's good for you to just move forward and start seeing clients and working with them as a doula. And then the more you dive into it, the more you're going to have clarity around, should I certify or not, or am I going to go straight into midwifery? And the answer would become more and more clear. And I think, you know, if you desire, like you've done free birth, a lot of the work that we do as doulas is based off of our own experiences. And you know, you definitely touched on that just now. And so how do you implement that into your business? That's your expertise, right? So moving into that space of like being okay with those dreams and saying like, I allow myself the permission to do it like this. Because sometimes it can feel like the other things around us are affecting what we truly desire. And so leaning into what your truth is important, because that is your business as well. We are an expression of our business. And so the more clear we are about what we want and desire, it's going to show up in our business. Because obviously, like, you know what you desire. So how do you move that into your business? I hope that kind of helps. I know it's a bit abstract, but also I hope it kind of gives some direction.
I think it does help. I just, I guess my biggest concern is that I've been worried I guess I'm getting this idea that because education is so lacking in my area, that I feel like I need to help all of these moms that aren't in the same place as me. And maybe there are other doulas here, there are other people. I just never see anyone doing meetups, or like everyone I know who's a doula is getting their clients from Doula Match. And there's no just like, it's my heart for the birth industry is that we can not necessarily just give things away for free, but I think that if discussion around natural birth and that these options exist were more open and we were just talking about it more, then we would have more clients because people would actually see the importance of this. And right now in the little corner of Ohio that I live in, our OBs are very, very mainstream. A lot of our nurse midwives, when I was looking for a midwife with our second, I just walked out of like 3 offices because they were so incredibly unsupportive of anything I said or any question I asked. And that's like the norm in our area. Like that's every mom I talk to has had these few doctors because that's all there is here. And they're just so incredibly negative about any natural choice. So while I would just want to be like educating everybody, I also know that I'll be happiest actually working with moms that desire the things that I know how to help them with. So I guess maybe I need to focus on maybe support like conversation groups more for just general educating and then focus my actual client base on a completely different area. I don't know, maybe that's the piece I've been missing that I'm just thinking of talking now, but it was helpful to hear you have feedback. Thank you.
Mhm. Has anyone else had experience where you felt, what your true desire is as a doula, but yet feeling maybe not leaning into your truth and trying something else instead because that's what everyone else does? Either in business or in your own doula practice. I think, we get influenced by that stuff for sure. And we're all here for a reason, and leaning into what we like, what we know is our truth, and using that, the business, your business as a vehicle to drive that is our passion. If we let someone else dictate what our passion is and how we work with clients, it is going to be seen in your business. Your clients will see that, and having unique things that we do is what brings clients to you. Like what we said earlier, there's another doula that I think she's called the Grammy doula. Her name's Laura. She's awesome, but she's older and she is the Grammy. She like titles that as her business. And it's like, yes, I would absolutely hire a grandma, or like, I would love that. So there are different, doulas for each client, and having those unique pieces of ourselves shine out in whichever way that comes forward is important. It's really important, I think. Anybody want to chime in on that?
Hi, I'm Pamela. I'm in Colorado. I'm from Mexico, from Tijuana. And I'm just starting out my business, my doula business. And well, for me, it's kind of like a tricky situation because I really want to support the Hispanic and Latino community in Colorado, in Denver, the Denver area. But there's also not like, we don't have this culture of like asking for support in our pregnancies or births or postpartum. And I feel like that's a tricky situation for me because I really want them to be like my focus or my main clients. But at the same time, I'm sort of afraid that I won't get any because of that.
This is really tricky. And also, becoming a doula, being a doula, there is still a large component about education. Because it's not just the different types of communities. Like I feel often it's women in general do not want to ask for help.
Yeah.
And it is so difficult to educate around why, because we've been taught from a very young age that you don't need to ask for help. And so how can we provide education around that? I think that's a, great, either you could do a live on social media, or you can have an in-person conversation about that, because this construct, this societal culture that we have that people shouldn't ask for help is so outdated. It's like, so like, I'm over it. Like, guys, we all need help, right? And so providing education around that is going to be something we have to constantly do. And it's hard. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it. It's not easy. It really isn't. But how can we make it fun? How can we provide this for our potential clients? Because that having support around pregnancy and postpartum is essential. especially because if you don't have family support, what are you gonna do? So I get it. I hear you. I see you. I know it's really hard. But I think you're doing a great service to your community by offering this. And it's very important.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually started out because I myself want to get pregnant. I don't have any kids yet. And well, I just moved here last year, so like I don't really know around a lot of people. My family is really far away, and so yeah, I would like that support for myself when I'm going through it. And yeah, I'm not even like working right now, so I can just imagine all the Latino families that are by themselves and they have to go out and work every day and they don't have any support at all. But yeah, like the money equation is also pretty tricky because yeah, it's just not a part of our culture to have these kind of services and pay for them, right? So
You know, guys, what I'm hearing is that your personal experiences and your personal passion and what you've gone through yourself or you're moving through now is your selling point. It's your why. It is what you're here to do to totally revolutionize how we see pregnancy and postpartum and how we experience it so that it's not what it used to be. Oh, you know, a lot of people come into doula work because they had a not so nice experience and they don't want other people to experience it. Or maybe you did have a great experience, but you know a sister or a friend or someone who had the opposite, and you never want someone to hurt like that ever again. Because there are ways that we can mitigate it. And using that as your fuel to either provide education or to make yourself visible in ways that feel really good for you is how we kind of drive this client search. I know. This is Jack, by the way. He's my third.
Hi, Jack. I think he has something to say about this.
He does. He likes all my calls sometimes. Hi, Jen. Hi, Kelly. Welcome back. Okay, guys, I am going to wrap this up. This was really, really wonderful. It was so great to meet you all. I have a little presentation that I'm really excited to share, but if you have to hop off, feel free. It's essentially, oh, Jack, are you going to let me talk? It's essentially a continuation of these calls that we're having. So we are going to continue doing the free forum once a month. It's going to be either the first or second Thursday of the month. We'll just kind of see how it goes. But these are going to be free no matter what. So I'll always have that available to you guys. Now, I don't know if he's going to let me continue this call. Let's try. We will try.
Pamela, I would really love to chat with you more about that. There's a really large Hispanic community in my area also, and I've been really wanting to think of ways that I could reach out and help them also. Every time I'm in the laundromat, there's so many moms with little babies, and I know very little Spanish, but I'm wanting to work on that because I've been wanting to help that community here also. So cool. Maybe we could bounce ideas off of each other and come up with ways to help.
Definitely.
I'm Kristen. You should be able to see me on that Facebook event. Maybe my hands are covered in tomatoes right now, or I would try to find you.
Okay, Kristen or Kirsten? I'll look you up.
It's Kristen Huffman.
Okay. Perfect.
Oh, I love this, guys. That's so beautiful. It's great to connect like this, which leads me to what we're going to share, because I just think it's important. And, you know, We need to, right? Okay, can you guys all see this?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, we're gonna do a club. Woo woo. So from this forum, I saw the importance of these conversations. So I want to continue it. The forum is always going to be free, but if you want to continue, go further, have more, we now have an option. So what is it? It's part trainings, part collaboration, like what we did today. It's a space for us to come together as an online community, discuss business solutions to this entrepreneurship journey that we're on as a doula. This is my middle daughter, Chloe. Gosh, she's so cute. So this is a space for business skill growth and also general business guidance for doulas. There are 3 focus points that we're going to be mostly touching on, which is going to be booking clients, building income, and general business challenges. Those percentages there are just what I have seen when I have polled doulas, that these are the biggest main sticking points and challenges. So that's what we're really going to be discussing inside the Doula Business Club. We're also going to be reviewing marketing, networking, passive income, efficiency hacks, and reducing overwhelm. So that's going to also be, part of it. There are going to be trainings. They're going to be either live or pre-recorded. It's going to vary each month, but this is a taste of the kind of trainings that are going to be inside there, which I will be doing. So landing your first clients, the client consultation, passive income, scheduling, marketing, it's going to be pretty robust. And it's a lot about first starting out as a doula and also in the middle part, kind of continuing. There won't be so much scaling content, but if you're there and you need that, we're going to do it. This is a business club that is very much built upon the needs of the community. So while we do have these training topics, it is going to be based on how our conversations go. And that's going to be guiding the trainings as well. So this list here is just to keep some of the trainings going, but mostly it's going to be like the collaborative piece of us working together and what you guys are needing at that current time. So this is an opportunity for you guys to be a part of the collaborative effort to make doula businesses thrive. So this is going to really be supporting the entire industry. And you're also going to be receiving access to these trainings, which is, helpful for your own business. But your feedback is going to be improving the refinement process for either people coming into the club or people who want access to the things that we're going to be talking about. So there's going to be 4 phases. Essentially, we're going to be doing trainings, the live calls to collaborate on what works and what doesn't, which is what we're kind of doing today. The next phase is going to be refinement of what we discussed, which is going to be what I do. This is going to be me, where I'm going to be taking in all the things that we're discussing. I've already got notes here right now, all of our calls and trainings and conversations, and I'm going to be putting together a client booking system for doulas. There's probably going to be a doula course that is going to come from this as well. That's kind of my projections. Once that occurs, we can move into phase 3, which will be the client booking system. That's going to be complete. You guys are going to have access to this at a heavily discounted rate since we are essentially co-creating it. It might be free. It might be like super discounted. I'm not really sure. We're just going to kind of see how it goes. But because you guys would be, if you're in the club, you're going to be receiving something. And then the final phase is going to be the doula business course. And once that's complete, again, you're going to either receive it free or at a heavily discounted rate. So the price, it's a monthly reoccurring container of support and collaboration. You can either choose to do it at 11 a month or 17 a month. It's really what is most accessible for you. And just had to get Jack there. It's at a really low cost. Yeah, that was just the price that felt really good because I will be doing some work behind the scenes for this, and this price feels really good for me to continue this work for the entire doula industry. Oh, Jack, you're so cute. So you're gonna get one live integration call a month, plus you get access to the forum. Then you're gonna be receiving those 3 trainings that will be either live or pre-recorded. Oh guys, I'm so sorry. Too cute, Jack. You will. He's had enough. Let me see if I can get him to settle. So you will receive either a coupon code or free access to the client booking system. We will have a private group, so you'll have direct access to me. And also as a founding member, you'll get the free or discounted access to like products or coaching if you want to dive in further. So like minute little details, it's going to be held in Mighty Networks. There are live calls that are going to be held through Zoom like we're doing today. There will be a private viewing of the trainings. And so that will be like limited. Oh, sorry guys, this is not going so well. There will be private trainings. So those will be limited to, okay guys, I'm so sorry. They will be limited to just people who are in the club. Okay, I'm gonna pause now, guys. I'm so sorry. He doesn't want me to talk right now. I'm going to finish this at another time. And I hope you guys enjoyed this today.
Thank you so much. No worries.